Hello, and welcome to Spiritual Growth Unveiled. Today, we're diving deep into the parable of the growing seed. In this parable, Jesus shares a powerful message about the kingdom of God. He describes it as if a man scatters seed on the ground. And then something extraordinary happens. Let's explore the essence of this parable. First, let's read the passage from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 4. Verses 26 to 29. The kingdom of God is as if a man should scatter seed on the ground. He sleeps and rises night and day, and the seed sprouts and grows. He knows not how. The earth produces of itself, first the blade, then the ear, then the full grain in the ear. But when the grain is ripe, at once he puts in the sickle because the harvest has come. Now, this parable is not as well known as some of the others, primarily because it can only be found in the Gospel of Mark. However, it carries profound lessons. While it shares similarities with the parable of the sower, it teaches a different principle. In this parable, Jesus isn't referring to a future event but speaks of God's kingdom in its present spiritual manifestation. He highlights how citizens of this kingdom function among humanity on earth. In this analogy, Jesus uses the natural process of plant growth to explain how individuals called by God develop spiritually. Just like the growth of a seed into a full-grown plant, spiritual growth happens invisibly and somewhat mysteriously. The process is simple, much like the growth of a seed. The sower scatters the seed, but the growth is not entirely in their hands. God provides the necessary resources, like light, warmth, water, and nutrients, leading to germination. The sower's role is to speak the word, take actions, and show kindness. However, it is God who does the bulk of the work behind the scenes to guide a person to the truth. This process mirrors spiritual growth. God employs various methods to get a person's attention. And it might be something seemingly insignificant that leads them to the truth. Spiritual growth occurs gradually, just like the growth of a seed. It's unrealistic to expect a new believer to exhibit the same level of maturity as someone who has known God for years. In the parable, Jesus compares Christians to growing seeds. Just as you don't expect a sprout to bear ripe fruit immediately, spiritual growth takes time and steady progress. The seed, activated by water, puts out roots and shoots, grows in height, develops a head, displays a flower, and eventually produces fruit. God provides everything needed for spiritual growth: knowledge, energy, gifts, but the Christian must consistently respond to God's providence. A plant that doesn't respond well to God's blessings withers. And so does an improperly responsive Christian. External troubles and the stresses of the world can hinder growth, as discussed in the parable of the sower. Such Christians stumble or become unfruitful when they allow worldly concerns to halt their spiritual progress. So, remember, just as a seed has been planted in our hearts, initially unseen results can be discouraging. But if we allow God to nurture and enlighten us, that seed will grow, bearing the fruit He desires for His kingdom. Thank you for joining us in exploring the parable of the growing seed.